Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to NRL SC Off the Bench for Round 8 live Teamless Tuesday show. We're just going to be going over all the Teamless Tuesday news, the twists, the turns, and boy, isn't there a few. I only had just a very quick 20-second look, and man, my brain is freaking out with some of these inclusions this week. Some very unexpected news from some players, and some weirdly named, which I thought were out for 4 or 5 weeks. So that's just my initial reaction there, but we'll get right into it. What an Easter weekend of football that was, an absolute smorgasbord of craziness. Parramatta winning, that's how much more crazy does it get than that? And Galvin, a news and weekend full of Galvin hypotheticals and hysteria and everything else. How are we going there, Roscoe, talking about hysteria?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. It was very weird when I see that they've recalled him into the team after what's happened, obviously, during the week. I mean, we don't know how much of it's true. We know Isaac Moses is a bit full of himself, so I don't know what to believe of the whole situation. Obviously, Galvin hasn't come out and said anything himself, so I don't know how much of it to believe. Bit disappointing. I was at the game yesterday. I thought the refereeing was absolutely atrocious against both teams. I thought that sin bin against Aongi was a bit ridiculous. I mean, I don't know how he's supposed to disappear when he's just basically going for a charge down. But, it was nice to go out there and go to the game with my niece and nephew who's here from Amsterdam, and my brother as well who's over here from Amsterdam, and he's a mad Paris supporter. So, donned the flag well. When I found one of old Dad's old para flags and was waving that around, so he would have been really rapt about that. So, other than the result, it was all right.
Yeah, it looked like a hell of an afternoon out there. It looked like a great atmosphere, but I must admit the refereeing was a bit weird, and I've already commented on a few different platforms about constantly in the ear of the referee, and I think that did have a lot to play out there.
Well, all right, just quickly, but it just shows the standard of the refereeing in the bunker these days. When you've got May who copped that shoulder first hit up of the game, who didn't get Tuolangi obviously got put on report for it, and he's now suspended for 3 weeks. So, you and then Lee get penalised not long after that, and then the momentum swing changes. Both, as I said, I'm not complaining as a Tigers fan because both teams copped it badly, really bad. It just ruined a good game, Brad, for me. And there was 27,000 out there, and it was a great day. That was my first trip out to CommBank, and I've got to say, it's not what I expected. I think Allianz is much better ground in regards to new stadiums. But yeah.
Right, as well today on the show, very briefly, we'll quickly introduce our special guest, Mr. Charity from the SC Hub. If people don't know what the SC Hub is, if you've got Discord, go check out the SC Hub. It is the premier Discord service for Supercoach news, information, and everything else. If you're into Discord, it's the place to be, the place to go. How are we going, Charity?
Mate, I'm doing well after a subpar week at Supercoach this week. I'm still pretty happy, though. I'm not like most where they're struggling. I'm actually in the top 8,508 players. So
you're near me.
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I started off in the top 3K and was crushing it. And every week I've dropped about 1,500 spots. So we're on the slow decline. I'm making all of my podcast appearances now, getting them out of the way while I'm still highly ranked before the inevitable fall off that I'm going to experience. But yeah, from the SC Hub Discord community, I love it just for the banter, really. You get to hear real-time chats from people. You get to have a little bit of banter about what you're seeing. Really, really great stuff. So keen for it. Love the place, but also just keen to just talk with other creators like yourselves in the space and really make the Supercoach community, what it needs to be. Just a really nice, community with all of us together and talking nicely, right? Is that what we're going to be doing on this podcast? I think is that
something like that. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Is it really a nice community? I mean, look, there is somebody who knows you, I think, who is already tuning in and has dropped some comments. They've Mr. Holden, whoever that is, playing this fraud too much. Saying so. Obviously, you've already got a fan out there tuning in. Thank you very much, Mr. Holden Meatballs, whoever you are. We've got some lovely ones that come in from YouTube. Biggest Dickus. Dickus says hello to Mr. Charity. And as well, of course, over the ditch, we've got Big Ted who's joining us. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Mr. Charity and Roscoe and the Beastie. Thank you, Ted. Love your work. Love it. All right.
Listen, Cameron, you can't be making those sort of symbols on this podcast because if Dry Arrow's watching, you might take offence to that, okay?
That's true.
All right. Rather than make this a 2-hour-long podcast, let's jump into the first game of the round. I'll quickly go over this one while next. We've got the Brisbane versus the high-flying Bulldogs. Big news here is no Reece Walsh. A broken eyelash, gone. Yep, he's booked into the salon and won't be seeing him this week. Selwyn Kyo goes back to fullback. That means otherwise the back line is pretty much still the same with Dean Mariner coming in on the vacant wing spot there. The forwards stay pretty much the same. Billy Walters retains the starting number 9. Corey Pakes owners, sell. Get out now while you can. Only got about a 20 last week coming off the bench, so he clearly is a sell. Xavier Willison named again as the starting second rower. Yeah, and
big back rower, Jesus.
That's a scary prospect. I personally think Jacob Preston. I think he's on Jacob Preston's side there. I'm not sure, but that could be. Well, actually, I think it's kick out. No, it'll.
He'll be up against kick out, won't he?
I never know how to tell who's on what side. I to this day have not figured it out.
No, it'll be exactly opposite. So it'll be like Arthur's will be on Montoya.
Yeah, that's right. So Jacob Preston is on Willison.
Yeah.
I still think the nimble nature of Preston on Willison. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. No changes in the back line there for Canterbury. In fact, Canterbury team is very, very steady. There's absolutely no changes there that I can really see.
Oh, just the bench. Just Harry Hayes on the bench for Jack Todd, who's out with a fractured arm. But that's it.
All right, Mr. Charity, you got any of these Bulldogs or Broncos players you affected here at any point?
This week I'm bringing in Carraz, and I've traded out Reece Walsh, which I don't even know why I traded him in to begin with, but here we are.
Yeah.
Granted, I traded him out for Turbo, so it's not the worst thing, but yeah.
All right, Roscoe, you got any you affected here?
As a seller of Shibasaki and Arthur's last week, very happy with that move on. Obviously got Payne Haas, and I'm going to be bringing in Jacob Kraz this week for Jack Howarth. Yeah.
Shibasaki's time is just about flowing. People close, but he's not an urgent seller. There's a few other urgent things around that you possibly have to consider selling there. Arthur's you probably should have sold already. I hope you have, if you're an owner, because he definitely had peaked. But again, there is a few other dramas around in people's teams. Haas is clearly a hold for the year. Most people have already been jumping on Jacob Carraz. He was a pod, no longer a pod now. Very, very popular to be brought in, and probably one. Tell you the honest truth, I wish people didn't because, I'm an owner.
Well, I will say something. Hang on, I will say something on this. Just keep in mind for those who are playing overall, he could get picked for Origin. And with doubts over the fitness of Turbo or guys like that, I would like he's strongly a chance of getting picked. So just take that into consideration.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Well, if you had the choice between Carraz or Herbie, who would you go?
Well, Herbie, because, but the thing is, if Herbie, the issue is, Mr. Chad, is that Dogs have got a decent bye schedule. So if Carraz misses Origin, I think he plays 2 of the 3 big byes. So it does make it hard. I think if you had to choose between the two, you'd probably go Herbie, because I don't think Carraz will go to that range where won't be able to afford him. You know what I mean? Like, he's not at that point where you can't just wait 2 or 3 weeks until they, talk about the Origin teams and go him then. But I just think if you want to go someone now, I'd probably go Herbie, sorry. Yeah.
All right, locking it in. Trade made. Let's go.
Oh, jeez.
Now I can blame you if it goes wrong.
Mr. Holden Meatballs has just noted that there's a lot of there's a lot of similar sort of names. Or
love it.
The YouTube feed. And biggest tickets just said a minute ago that Shibs is gone for him. That it makes sense, mate. That's definite. All right, Ross, you want to do the next game?
Yeah, Roosters versus the Dragons, the all important Anzac Day clash. Billy Swift returns from suspension, sees the alphabet move to the wing, and Dom Young drops out. Spencer Linu starts at prop in the absence of Nat Butcher's out with a knee injury. Gus is back, and Fekete goes back to the bench. Egan Butcher comes off to the bench after playing New South Wales Cup last week, and Lozalu drops to the reserves. For the Dragons, Sione Fainu has been called onto the wing to replace Matt Feagai, who is injured. And then Tifley, Emile Gula returns from suspension on the bench to fill the spot left by Hamish Stewart's out with concussion. I presume we're all on Billy Smith this week, yeah? All aboard the Billy Smith Express?
Yeah, I think you have to.
Yeah?
Pay me the money.
Oh, well, I got on him last week because I didn't want to lose cash from Arthur's or Stuber, so I did it a week early.
Yeah, no, show me the money. I'm definitely
I don't want to talk about the number 8 for the Dragons, Brad, because I'm sick of talking about this bloke because, dead set, he's absolutely killing us.
Yeah.
Insane. You've heard the raps on these kids for ages. The Couchman brothers, just how good they are, and we've seen glimpses of them. We're like, they could be a really good player. Toby's in frame for Origin potentially if he keeps up this form. He's playing so good and such a good Supercoach player that we just never really even saw as an option. Like, if you started with him this year, kudos to you, but it's just insane.
Well, I was, and I think Brad and I both were until he was named on the bench that first game. And then when we looked at the forward bench the forwards in the bench and starting, they had 4 or 5 front rowers. So it was very difficult to go there, especially when they signed Emre Gula as well. We just didn't know what was going to happen, but it's obviously...
and Clemmer. Yeah,
and Clemmer, yeah.
Clemmer came over. Well, we were he came in last year. We had a PPM around 1.3 or something, and it really stood out that he looked like one that could really go big if he got good. And then when they said, they're going to start him at front row forward. But it's a year of the front row forward, isn't it? I mean, we keep saying it. This is a crazy year for front row forwards. There's just so many to pick from, and he is just another one that's out there. Piano on the wing. I guess Sione, don't pick him up this week, folks. Just take it easy. But at some point, he is going to be a cheapie you can bring in if you want to downgrade and make yourself some cash.
Well, how long's Tupolotu out? 4 to 6, is it?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was including last week, I think.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on Connor Watson, boys?
Oh,
I
look,
had him, but I needed to trade him.
he's one of the best running around at the hooker position. So if you're
I'm
going to
just
have
thinking for those who, like myself, who need a replacement for Harry Grant.
you're Origin not worried about, I'd be very worried there.
No, of course. Yeah. The other one I'm thinking is coming in a later game, so we'll keep going.
All right. So the next one, this could be an absolute bloodbath, I think. Personally, Warriors versus Knights. But every time I say that this year, the opposite happens. Big Ted, give us your thoughts. You're over there. What's the feeling like about the Warriors coming up? The Warriors look very, very set in their team at the moment. No real changes. There is a bit of flip-flopping about in the second row there with Halasima going back to the bench. He's a bit of a cheapie for some people, with Nakore now getting back to the number 12 spot for the Knights. Oh, my goodness. James Schiller comes back, which is probably a good thing. He's back on the number 2 spot. On the wing, Fletcher Sharp and Tyson Gamble again in the halves, man. They could make mincemeat of those two halves. Dylan Lucas is back in the second row. For those people who have been holding Lucas, you'll be breathing a sigh of relief. Some people will be bringing him in. I think he's about a week away from bringing him in for me.
100%.
No, I'm just bringing him in this week. I don't care.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's in. I don't care. He's just I've never rated him, and I've always missed him, so I've always been hurt by him. Now I'm like, nah, he's in. I don't care.
So
what I have to come up with.
Okay. So let me ask you this: if you had the choice, would you go Jacob Kraz, Herbie, or go Lucas? If you only go one.
Lucas for Jules, and I don't think we have to worry about Origin. Like, obviously Herbie's in. Kraz, you have to worry about Origin. I just think he's shown that he is a good Supercoach player, and I just have this feeling that the reason that Newcastle's attack has been terrible, and it's coincided with when Lucas has been out. Now, it's not 100% just because of Lucas, but I think when Lucas comes back in, they'll have one more attacking weapon on that side. And whether it's Lucas that they use as the attacking weapon or whether it opens up the other players, I want to get a piece of it.
Can I just say, I think Dylan Lucas back is going to not just benefit the team, but it's going to unlock Kalen Ponga. I have no doubt about that at all. And I don't hate the Ponga trade in this week. I know he's still got a pretty high BE, but it wouldn't be the worst trade if you're looking to get a fullback this week.
Yeah. Well, I was playing around with that. With that, and I had that before this podcast. But for me, the only concern is Origin. Now with Reece Walsh having to get his eyelashes replaced, it's going to be very difficult to not have Ponga in that Queensland fullback spot. So then you're missing him for that period, and then all it takes is one brutal hit in Origin, which we've seen happen to Reece Walsh. That's all it takes for then him to be out, and then you're looking to trade him out again. So that's my only hesitation with bringing in Ponga. Otherwise, 100% he'd be in my team right now.
Quite interestingly, Dylan Lucas and Kalen Ponga off the field are very close. And quite interestingly, Ponga seems to play better when Dylan Lucas is actually in the team.
That's my point. That's exactly my point.
It is an actual thing. I've gone and had a look at it and gone, oh.
Yeah.
Actually, I know they're close off the field, but they do play rather well together. Yeah. I'm not sure whether, I haven't gone too much further to look into whys and wheres and how, but you've sort of alluded to that a bit, Charity, but about the unlocking there. I would certainly have, you've got him in your second row, yeah?
Me, I traded him into second row.
Yeah, see, I'd have him definitely in the centres, but I'm a conservative sort of,
I've just got too many cheapies that are still earning cash down there. So, my 2RF is now locked. If I get Dylan Lucas in, I've got a pretty solid 2RF that I'm happy with.
Well, I
The
really
only
like
thing-
the Warriors for this one. Obviously, Big Ted says over there. They're all over the Warriors, but they do go like this, the Warriors at times. But I think for good reason they should be excited about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ross?
I was just going to say, Thomas Kant back to the bench too. Now with the BE of 21, don't sell him this week. Just wait a week. I mean, let's be honest, he's not losing you any cash this week unless something drastically happens.
And I think all it takes is I don't want this to happen because I've obviously traded him in, but all it takes is Lucas to re-injure that. He did a hammy, right? I'm pretty sure he's recovering from a hammy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope that's right. Someone fact check me in the comments if it's wrong. But
was it calf or was it a calf? Wasn't a calf, was it?
Maybe. Even then, like a leg injury, all it takes is a minor tweak, a tackle gone wrong, for that to be re-injured very easily, as we've seen with Turbo in the past. So,
it was
you
a
can
hammy.
hold on to Carr, and if anything does happen, you've still got him to then keep playing him.
No, it was a hammy.
He's looked like such a guy.
So there you go.
Yes, I know something.
All right, we're about to unleash Bigger Stickers because we're getting onto his beloved South Sydney. The South versus the Melbourne down there in Melbourne. This traditionally used to be the Warriors game, didn't it, Ross?
Yeah.
For some reason they've moved the Anzac Day around, but anyway.
They moved it so that they could do their Anzac celebrations in New Zealand as well, so that they could have them in Sydney, Melbourne, and New Zealand. And I think they're doing one special as well for the Gold Coast.
Were you guys aware? And I only know this because I listened to the Levels podcast, it's a great podcast, by the way, with Willie Mason and the other guys that they were saying for 6 years in a row, Warriors played the Storm on Anzac Day. Every game was played in Melbourne. Not one of them was played in New Zealand.
Wow.
Which is very poor, very poor. And they were having a real big go about it on the podcast with Justin Horrow and guys like that. So it's very disappointing. It really is. Like they could have played. Look, this could have still been Warriors and Storm in New Zealand. There's no doubt about it, honestly. I'll quickly run through this one, Brad. So Jack House out with a shoulder injury. Nick Meaney comes back from his jaw injury. Kamakamika is out. Valapilu comes onto the bench. Nasser's still out with the protocols for concussion, as is William Warbrick. The experiment of Latrell at 5'8" is over. He goes back to fullback. Jai Gray goes back to the bench. Lewis Dodd drops out, and Bailey Bentley Hope comes onto the wing. Campbell Graham shifts to the centres, and Ewing Aiken to the back row. And Jaden Sullivan will start at halfback, back from suspension with Cody Walker. And obviously Hubner is out with concussion, with Jaira going to lock.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it? I'm a Jack Howarth owner, but I'll tell you what I'm planning to do there. So I'm a Howarth. If you own him, is definitely a sell. Go on, get rid of him. Not much else really the stars are all there that you would expect for the Melbourne Storm. Hughes.
And obviously Harry Grant's still out too. 4 to 6 weeks, Harry Grant.
Yeah, 4 to 6 weeks there.
Yeah.
Jerome Hughes, bit of an injury concern late there the other day on that game, but his shoulder doesn't look at 100%. But anyway, they keep naming him.
Yeah.
He's looked injured every week.
He injured the shoulder the game before when they took him off early as well.
Crazy.
Jai Gray, what do we think, boys? I mean, do we think he's a bit hard done by? I understand South need the results, and obviously the Latrell experiment at centre and 5'8" hasn't worked, but I really feel sorry for Jai Gray because you're talking the bloke who has been running over 200 metres nearly every game and second in the Dally M's.
Yeah, it's hard done by, but I mean, you've got Latrell Mitchell, who is a beast, different kind of player to Jai Gray, but I think with Jai Gray's versatility, particularly with how they were using Jaden Sullivan earlier in the year, which was working really well for them, is now Jaden Sullivan can come off the field after starting and Jai Gray can be injected in for some speed around the middle as well. Yeah. He'll take some tough carries when everyone's a little bit tired, but have that speed, be backing up. And if he's playing in the halves, like subbing in, then all of a sudden you've got someone that's closer to like the action that can pop in, take these tough carries or scoots out of dummy half. I think he'll still be good. It will be different from what he has previously been doing. It is a little bit hard done by, but it is Latrell, who is one of the biggest stars of the game, and how deadly he can be when he's on. I think he now just needs to be – I think Wayne Bennett will challenge Mitchell and say, all right, here's your jersey. Show us that you want it and that you deserve it. And he'll come out and hopefully put on a big game.
Yeah. They're saying, Bigger said that Gray will kill it off the bench against the Tide.
Exactly.
Forwards. My personal opinion is but everybody has an opinion on this, and Latrell is that kind of player. I would love to see him in the centres. The modern day fullbacks, the good fullbacks, whether it be your Clint Guthersons, these sort of people, they don't do 1 or 2 runs a half, right? They're up at around about 12 to 15 runs a half, and over 100 metres a half, where Latrell is not like that. You can get away with that in the centres, but he's an excellent link man. He had lovely hands. I just think in the centres and have Jai Gray at fullback would be so dynamic, and use Latrell as that lovely link man there. He would really, he'd be scary, man. He would be so scary used in that way. I don't look. He's one of the best fullbacks running around, but he's so different to every other fullback in that. Like Reece Walsh, Reece Walsh can, he gets away with only doing 3 or 4 runs a half. But
it's kind of similar to Hammer, right? Where Hammer is that Ferrari that just comes out and does an explosive run out of nowhere. But the thing is he's backed up by like Herbie Farnworth, who does a lot of work, does a lot of carries out of tough ends. Asako's pretty decent at it as well. The problem is you have the backs. You have Isaiah Tass on one wing and the new Bentley Hope on the other wing. They're not going to be able to take as many carries to substitute the fact that Latrell, maybe doesn't have as many runs as a Jai Gray, but a Campbell Graham and Jack Whiten are actually pretty good. Graham would be wasted on the wing. Great comment there. Although I do like his finishing potential and his kick returns. So I like him there, but he's too valuable at centre as well. So I think Campbell Graham is a great inclusion into the team to be able to help substitute that Mitchell side of things. But yeah, we'll see how it plays out.
I think we all know what, like you said, Brad, we know what Latrell's capable of playing centre. We've seen it with the Roosters. We've seen it in Origin. But I just wonder whether Bennett looks like, Jai Gray's having a great season, don't get me wrong, but he's not very experienced, right, at all. If he had a great fullback there to unlock Latrell in centres, oh, mate, he'd kill it. I just question how good he will go. We didn't get to see much of it in game 1, which makes it very hard because obviously we moved into the halves after, 30 minutes or whatever it was. So, yeah, we may never know.
100%. Anything more on that game?
Well, you reckon the Hubner's a sell now, Brad? I mean, I sold him last week. Do you think he's a sell?
He's not an urgent sell, but he's certainly next week he's a sell.
Yeah.
But it just depends upon your team. He's looming as a sell, yes. But it just depends if you can hide him or not. He's certainly not a play, right?
Yeah.
Obviously. You would. You can sit on him for a week if you can.
If Hubner's the biggest problem in your team's going pretty well.
Yeah, definitely.
That's sort of what I'm meaning. He's not an urgent. Plus, it depends if there's anybody outrageously standing out in second row that you really want. Hudson Young, well, man, if you got $1 million. But apart from that, I mean, if you're going to sell him to get to Hudson Young and you have the cash, man, go for it.
Yeah, 100%.
But is there others there that are standing out at the moment in second row? There's a couple of looming that are going to come very shortly as options, but nothing's really jumping out. I'd probably hold it.
Brad, that was my trade last week.
What?
Hubner to Young. Yes.
Freaking
Yes.
great trade, man. Like,
Oh, I know. Paid off a beaut.
That's paid off a beaut.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right. The Queensland baby brothers here, the Cowboys versus the Titans. The coming back from a bye week at home up there. They could do anything on. This could be anything. Who knows what Cowboys are going to turn up, and who knows what Titans are going to turn up. That's probably even more of a mystery. Almost as mysterious as Dez's weird ass tactics that he gets up to.
This is the beginning of a triangle game, just filled with mystery.
They look pretty stock standard in the back line there. We've all got Purdue, probably as a play this week if you do have him coming up. He'll be up against Phil Sammy, so he might actually have a bit of room there. The forwards as well, John Bateman makes his way back into the number 11 role, which is just crazy. But anyway, and basically a 4-forward bench there for the interchange. There's no break there for Reece Robson coming in with that bench. Absolutely, he'll be playing 80 minutes, you would think.
Yeah.
For the Titans, which he's almost a buy, by the way, folks, but we'll get to that one. The Titans to group remains at the back. What else have we got here? The big news is David Fafita is on the bench.
Oh, please. He's not playing. Stop playing mind games, Des, for fuck's sake. You came out and said during the game last week he's out 4 weeks and he's named him. Don't play the mind games. Seriously.
I said this to Charity off the
yeah.
What on earth is his name appearing there?
Oh, God.
4 weeks he was out for. You wouldn't touch him anyway.
No.
But certainly if you got him, you can hold. But nah. Charity, what are you thinking of this a lot? Are you got any of this lot of people, or are you got any thoughts?
I'm staying away from any predictions for this game. I can't predict anything that is going to happen here because you just don't know which team is going to turn up for either of them. You don't know how any of these players are going to rock up. My only question is, where is Kinney? What happened there? It was like
he's done his injury. He's injured, mate. He's gone for the season.
I know.
He did that toe injury. Oh yeah, they were 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, mate.
It came out of nowhere because I have him in my draft team. Yeah. And I was like, what a sneaky little play I had with Kinney and Turbo in my team. Amazing. And he's just gone now. So do we think Jalen DeGroot is going to stay at fullback for the rest of the year?
I think they have to because Jaden Campbell's out. They've still got Foran out, so I think they have to. Don't think they've got a choice. But do you think
when Foran and Campbell come back, do you think that they're moving like an AJ to fullback?
I think Brimson might go into the centres.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't rate Brimson as a half, but I can see Brimson going back into the centres. Okay.
That's interesting because I'm holding out on AJ, hoping that he goes back to fullback because he scores so well when he's a fullback player. Yeah. So
I don't know how far away Foran is though. Campbell's still 3 to 4 weeks. Don't know about Foran.
Yeah. Okay.
Just going back on the Chooks game, I just got to do a quick shout out to Joey Alton from the Ruck Infringement. G'day, Joey. Thanks for dropping a comment there. Finally, the Chooks have dropped Dom Young. Watch Marky Mark get a double. I don't know about that, but watch him leak a few
listen, Joey, just because Tim's not on it doesn't mean you can't still give him shit, okay? Just quickly, two guys who I really like in this game. Number one is Scott Drinkwater, and I also like Murray Talangi too. I really like those two as options this week. I think Talangi up against Fafita, I like it. I think even Drinkwater too. He's due a big score, Drinky.
Yeah, Drinky's a player that I've had 2 previous years as fullback and just been a fullback that I've kind of held the whole year. It's been so valuable as a team. He hasn't scored those tons consistently, has an occasional 40 or even like a 9 in his average. But other than that, he's just been such a consistent player. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he goes for this game.
I just think with the draw that they've got, Cam, and the goal kicking as well, because I know you said you can't predict this game. There's two predictions that happen to this game for me. It's either the Cowboys win like 50-10, or it ends up like 30-24, something stupid like that.
Yeah,
that's my two predictions.
Yeah, that's fair. Very fair.
All right. Somebody's just written in. They're asking for a welfare check on Timmy.
He's getting his pedicure done, I believe.
Pedicure again. So
No
back sack crack this week.
Well, it could be getting that afterwards.
While he's doing that, can he ask Reece Walsh when he's returning? Is that possible?
He's looking for a happy ending.
Where is Wally's finished? We've got where is Timmy now?
Yes.
According to Big Ted. Thanks for that one, Ted. All right, we might as well get off that game because that's enough of those two.
Yeah.
Manly versus the Panthers. Well, this is going to be a scary thing. If you don't have the captaincy on Cleary here, there's something crazy with you if you own him. The back line looks very stock, steady and safe. Casey McLean retains that centre position, which means Thomas Jenkins probably is not a play this week because, Casey McLean just cannot and will not pass the ball for some God-known reason. Jenkins very close to being a sell. I think, Roscoe, you're thinking of selling this week?
I'm actually, look, I want to boost this week to make the trades that I want to make this week. So, looking to bring in, potentially someone like Herbie or Lucas this week, as well as selling Harry Grant. But I need to boost to make this happen, which will still leave me with 2 boosts. I'm happy with that. But he's not an urgent sell, Brad, but I think you could sell him. I mean, if he's your ticket to a Carraz or a Herbie, absolutely. But I wouldn't be downgrading him, though, unless you're going to go to Billy Smith. Yeah. If he's the only ticket to Billy Smith, absolutely do it.
Yeah. The Billy Smith one is not necessarily a bad at all. Okay, Luke Somerton grabs the hooking position this week. Kenny is out. The bench, Maverick Guy comes onto the bench to make, I think, his first appearance of the year. Tom Trbojevic, he's back. Turbo is back. A BE of 172, mind you. Right, so if you're thinking about getting him, well, I would wait a week or two.
Or just don't get him at all.
Quite crazily, if you wait 2 weeks, and myself and Cam were just looking at this before we started the pod, if you wait 2 weeks, Ione will nearly be worth almost the same amount of money. Yeah. How crazy a trade will that be in 2 weeks? You can't Ione to Turbo. Man, that would just be something. Apart from that, the back line for Manly looks fairly steady with Hopewadi going back onto the wing. That looks a lot safer and more defensive for them, indeed. It also gives them a nice little bit of shape and attack. Jazz Tabega goes into the 13 role with Jake Simpkins now starting at hooker. So that is quite a big change there.
That's because Gerbo's concussion.
Yeah, but quite interestingly, there's no replacement name for him in the bench there. So that's Tommy Talau is a winger centre, and then 3 forwards beyond that. None of them are hookers. So
Jazz will play some hooker, won't he?
Well, that's what you'd think would happen. Yeah, Jazz, probably the 13 into the hooker position. Any thoughts on this one, guys? Who wants to shoot?
Well, if you don't own Cleary, you probably should be trying to get him into your team, like you said, Brad. Probably Garrick is one to watch, especially with those that are playing the overall game, because obviously they cover all the 3 big buys. If you've got Olakuadu, I'd be holding on to him for that same reason. Other than that, there's not really much else for me, Brad, to be honest with you.
Well, you're not going to go like Ted and put the captaincy on Turbo?
You lock and load. Do it. You won't do it, Big Ted.
Surely he's taking the piss, isn't he? Surely. God.
Do it. Send us a screenshot.
If you know Ted, you'll know he is taking the piss.
Oh, yeah.
No, I think this will be a really, really interesting game to really measure where both of these teams are at. So Panthers tied last at the moment on the bottom of the table. Looking at this going, are they back after their performance last week? Or was that just a one-off that they got up for? Now, you would hope that the Panthers will come back. They're just maybe readjusting to, not having, mixing up all of their combos. We know that they normally start slow to a season. Coming up against the Sea Eagles that has Turbo back in, that normally performs pretty well, have been not performing well since Turbo's been out. And with a couple of changes and everything, it does make it a little bit more complicated to predict. But this will be great because if the Sea Eagles do get up for this, it's not going to be an easy game for the Panthers. The Panthers have been struggling as well. So I'm really interested to see where this game goes. I think Talau on the bench is to cover if Turbo does go down again so that they can then move Lehigh there and then Talau just shifts back into the wing. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, this is going to be a really interesting watch. I'm very, very keen for this game.
I haven't done the stats on it yet, and I should have probably got a bit better prepared for this one. But don't forget, the game is played at CommBank Stadium. There is no home ground for the Panthers. I'd have to go and have a look at what Manly's statistical history is like at CommBank. I've got a feeling it's not bad. A feeling.
I'll tell you what, Panthers record at CommBank is pretty shocking. So,
it's terrible. Yeah,
it's terrible. So, and especially I don't know, is there rain scheduled for this weekend actually? Because Panthers don't play well in the rain either.
There's rain forecast for about the next 10 days in Sydney. It's going to be wet everywhere this weekend.
I think the pod play of Turbo, captain, is actually not a bad shout.
No, come on now.
I reckon Turbo's going to score 175 and beat his break even. You wait and see.
No.
Is Turbo a never own again ever? No, I'm going to bring him in.
No.
2 weeks time. Yes, I am. I'm going that bad already. Why not? Fuck it. Just bring him in.
That's a good point.
If you bring him in, Brad, there's one condition. You have to captain him every week no matter what.
Yeah, I probably will. That's how much I give him. I probably will. Probably will. And I think Dickus is with me. He likes a good Turbo. He says, I don't know. This is getting all phallic, this conversation. All right. A serious comment. Tim O'Connor has said, Timmy, he's finished eating his sausage at Bunnings. He's he wants to know if Ozeo is starting to hit his straps. Pod play anyone? Well,
no.
He's a pod play, but is he showing enough to bring him in at that price? Or...
He's are you playing overall, Tim? Because you do realise he's going to play Origin, don't you?
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say on that.
How much is it?
All right. So do we go to the next game?
Yeah, let's end it.
All right. So let's go over to the next game. It's enough of the Manly shingbags. All right. So I reckon this is going to be a good game. Raiders versus Dolphins. Who wants to go through this one, Ross?
Oh, yeah. Rightio. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, give me 1 sec. So for the Raiders, no changes for them. For the Dolphins, Francis Molo will make his club debut in the front row. Mark Nichols moves to lock to replace Felice Kafusi. He's out with a knee injury. JMK still out with his infected leg. But Max Platt has been named despite suffering a foot injury against the Storm. I'd be keeping an eye on that one for sure. As you said, Brad, I think this is going to be a cracking game. I am just going to lean towards the Raiders at home. That's the only reason I'm going the Raiders. But I think it'll be a cracking game. So I think there's some things to discuss in this game. Obviously, the Raiders have a great draw for those who are playing overall for the buys. But do you sell a Matty Nicholson or a Horse if that gets you to Hudson Young? Or is it not worth getting on Young now, not just because of his price, but because he will play Origin?
Cam, what do you reckon?
I can't see it being worthwhile to bring in Huddy now. I think if you brought him in last week, the week before, I feel like it's maybe chasing points and you're spending up big, especially if you're trading out a Nicholson to get to a Young. I feel like that's a lot of money to be upgrading to someone who's potentially going to be out for Origin as well. That's my only concern with it. I think he's a great player and a great play to have in your team, but I think now you're just spending too much money on it. Could be wrong, but yeah. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think, look, Nicholson's time has just about come. With that, having a look at the consistency of the team there, Zach Hoskins' impact. Look, Matty Nicholson did play 80 minutes last week. So Ricky is playing him for 80 minutes and big minutes, but he's still only getting through about 10 runs a game. That's way down on any other set. Like, that's really low. And he's had quite a few weeks to try to pick this up. He's got a few good attacking stats and tries here and there, thankfully, because our cash generation then has been quite okay on the back of that. But the base just isn't quite there. So around about 550, 600 is about – he's going to max at that. So which is about where he's at now, I do believe. So you would think Matty Nicholson, Horsburgh, you would just leave. Roscoe, you don't touch Horse just yet.
Yeah.
Because he's a solid –
I think he's a great front row forward 3 just to have.
It's just the minutes. It's just the minutes. Like, he's getting through the work, but the minutes is a concern. Like, last week he played 40 minutes straight and he was on about 50-odd points and then only played another 10 minutes. So he's only getting 50 minutes. I just feel like he's relying on attacking stats a lot to get him a decent score. Would you be happy to hold the bloke who's only going to get you 50s every week? That's the question.
That's why Nicholson does have to go at some time. Yeah. Don't have to this week, but he certainly is very looming to be a sell. Quick question there from Ted for charity. Katoa, season keeper or wait for Moses as halfback number 2?
I would need to see Moses with the goal kicking before I make that decision. He kicked 1 goal on the weekend and then it went to Riley Smith. Do we know why that happened? I think
they were just taking. I think they were just taking the piss. Really?
Fair enough. I mean,
but I will say on Moses, he will play Origin too. I saw enough in that game yesterday where he will be in the Origin team. It will be him and Cleary. I just have no doubt about it.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. Look, I think Katoa is doing enough to leave him there. I think. For me, and this is why I think I've been doing decently well this year in Supercoach, is after last year, I said, that's it. I'm not spending any more money in positions that don't earn points. Hooker doesn't earn points. 5'8", very rarely earns points. Let's front load the positions that are earning me a lot of points, like 2RF. And then when front row forward started popping off this year, I immediately went, how do I get the big players in there? Sent the big players into my front row forward position and then have just front loaded that. And that's what I'm doing. Halfback it's been difficult. There's been some decent scores from Cleary, but then some not so good scores from Cleary. Hines isn't where he used to be. Hughes has been on and off. There's just no real solid players there. So don't waste trades, don't waste money until there is an absolute lock in that position and front load in to the players. Like, I would much rather you upgrade the money and spend the money on getting Hudson Young into your team than trying to get Moses into your team for a Katoa. I think that makes much more sense in this year worth of Supercoach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big Ted says Huddy loves a try. Is he better than Beaver Menzies? No.
No
I
way.
like his next comment. I like the next
No
comment.
way. No.
What do you guys think about the next comment?
Not yet. Oh,
Because
we'll get to that one. I'll get to that. I've got to go back to Tim before we move on. We keep talking about similar players and all are heading for Origin. Tim, you've got to make your questions shorter. I've got to read this. 3,500 teams brought in Hudson Young last week, and he absolutely has a best bench spot at worst stitched up. Yo is 150k cheaper than Young. You do have a good point there, but Yo also is playing Origin as well, so I'm not sure that really makes it.
I think it's more so like they're both on par. Yo, is a more consistent scorer. Hutto has more of a ceiling, but for 130k less, you can get just a consistent player in your team that will perform. They're both playing Origin, so they offset each other from that point. It's not a bad point. I like the Yo player. I just think bringing him in this close to Origin is maybe not the right choice, but it's up to you on your risk tolerance and how you want to play.
All right, here we've got the big game now coming up, the last game to finish off the round.
Game of the round.
This is your team, mate. You better run us through your team.
When I found out today that Lockie Galvin was going to get recalled into this team, I immediately thought to myself, I don't know if this is good or bad. I understand we want to win and we need results, but is it going to be a case of he throws the toys out of the cot and just doesn't give a shit in this game? I saw some highlights of his game for the Magpies at Lidcombe Oval yesterday in front of about 500 people and about 1,000 security guards there, escorting him off the ground. I don't know what to expect in this, but it's at Leichhardt. It's already nearly sold out. And it's going to be interesting to see what sort of reception he gets from the crowd. Does he get booed? Are they going to support him? I have absolutely zero idea. So, what are you guys' thoughts before we go into the rest of these changes on Galvin coming back in?
So,
can I just? Sorry, you
just so people listening on Spotify know, we are talking about the West Tigers versus the Sharks game. Yeah, Cam, you were about to say?
I was just going to say, regardless of your guys' opinion and like everyone listening, what your opinion is of Galvin and the decisions that are being made, please remember that there is a 19-year-old kid that wants to play footy, and we can't be sending death threats. We can't be giving this kid such a hard time when I think for him, he's just grown up loving Parramatta and wants to play for Parramatta. And I think that's what it is. When we talk about why does he want to leave the Tigers, I'm not sure if people remember, but last year he played through a broken hand, and his family were very, very upset that he was made to play through that. So I think this is the lingering effect of what has happened from there. And then a young kid that I don't know the full details, but I think he is being a little bit manipulated by Isaac Moses, the player manager, which I think that's the person we really need to be angry at in this whole situation. But just remember that there is a 19-year-old kid here, and we need to think about the welfare of a kid that genuinely loves football and is genuinely going to be a star of the future. It's just caught in a very uncomfortable situation right now. So I just think we all need to remember that before we go to the game and start booing and throwing things at a kid or sending death threats. So that's the one thing that I just want to make sure is absolutely clear right now. Other than that, I think this is a very, very odd decision to bring him back. I think it makes the most sense from a logical team perspective because he is such a great player. But it's going to be really interesting to see, if he's getting driven back in a tackle, do the rest of the players then push him forward, and do they just go, well, let's just let you get smashed into the ground? I don't know what's going to happen there. I don't know how likely they are going to have his back or how much they're going to be pushing up in support or whatever it is. It'll be very interesting to see. It'll be very interesting to see the attitude that Galvin comes into this game with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find this a very weak decision by the Tigers, but the Tigers do make weak decisions for some. I don't get it, but that's just me personally. But if I was the coach or I was management, I certainly would not do this sort of a backflip. This is just a backflip of all backflips, and in fact, Teddy has said it here. He said, "Can Bungie coach? It's just the biggest backflip since DCE." Man, it just about is. It's a good one. Although they're completely different, it's just just move on. Everybody, move on. Make your decision. Yeah. Let the kid go play footy elsewhere. Right, release that money from your salary cap and go fix yourself up, Tigers. Let the kid go play football. 100% endorse what Cam said. He's a 19-year-old kid. Just let him go. He's been absolutely killed. His family, between his family and Isaac Moses, managing him. I don't know. Maybe he should just manage himself, right, and get rid of all that outside noise of his family and his Isaac Moses and,
I'll just have one more say on the matter. As said, I feel sorry for him, and as you said, Cam, I think a lot of this is Isaac Moses is doing. I think with the Tigers, do they want to let him go? I think they will. I just think that they're not going to let him go for nothing, if you know what I mean. If the Eels are happy to come to the party and pay out the rest of his contract, I'm pretty certain they're going to let him go, even if it is this year too. I see a world where there's a domino effect happens where he goes and signs with Parramatta and then they immediately release Dylan Brown to Newcastle and that just goes from there. But the Tigers have been burned in the past with letting guys go early and paying out contracts. I mean, look now, we're paying Jaden Sullivan. He's paying for Souths, right? He's on loan. So yes, Mollett might only be $300K a season. I can understand why they're doing it, but I don't agree with the decision of standing him down for last week. I think you can't drop a bloke for one game because you got the shits with him and then bring him back a game later and expect him to go out there and play at 110%. It's not going to happen. Not going to. And I'll support him. If I'm out at that game, I'm clapping him. I'm not out there giving him a hard time because, as I said, most of this is not his doing. Oh, shut up, Dickers. Go away, Dickers.
100%. We will have one last question. A big shout out to Hayden Boxall. G'day, Hayden. Thanks very much for your question, man. Thank you for listening. Would you play Galvin this week if you owned him?
Can't. Couldn't. Can't.
I don't know. I'm caught between two minds. I'm caught between how much.
He's paying for a contract too, don't forget.
Yeah. But I don't think he needs to play for a contract. If he has a shit game here, I don't think that affects him being able to.
Rolls has already said he wants him.
Supercoach perspective, Cam, would you play him?
Supercoach. Look, I had him in draft and in Classic and traded him out in both last week. So if I still had him and I was like holding him on the hopes that he would come back, I think he's still a decent play. I think the question would be, let's just say you had Galvin and Metcalf. Who would you rather play? Would you rather play a Metcalf against the Sharks or a Galvin trying to play a contract against the Sharks? Like, what would you play? I don't know. I think Galvin's just consistently scoring 60s, which is great. And Metcalf is like a hit and miss. So it really just depends on who your other 5'8" is. I don't know what I would do. I would probably still play him because I think he's a great player.
If you had to choose between either Metcalf against Newcastle or Galvin against the Sharks, I'm going Metcalf every day of the week. It's only because it's against Newcastle at home.
Yeah, right. I might actually play Galvin.
Yeah.
Over Metcalf. I've just got more assurance and more safe.
What else is happening in this game, Ross?
What else is happening? Blake Brayley, let's talk about him quickly as a replacement for Harry Grant at about 500K, starting to score really well. Good draw coming up. Don't have to worry about Origin. Your guys' thoughts on him as a replacement? I'm absolutely very close to bringing him into my team.
Yeah, he's not a bad player. I've got a friend that has always really played Brayley and just had him in the team. because she always went for, I just want consistent players that are going to score me well. She used to have Brayley at 9 and Edwards at 1 before Edwards started actually hitting high ceilings. And that's always worked out really well for her. He's always pretty consistent and scores well. I think he's one of those players that you can bring into your team and set and forget. Whereas there's a few other players that you have to trade and have to mix around, and maybe they have good games, maybe they have bad games. Brayley just, at worst, scores you like a 40, and then at best can actually have 100-point games, which is really, really good. So I think he's a great shout. I think there's probably other options that I would go to, like around that 500K, you know, it's not bad, but I just don't see hooker as a position that I want to spend money on. But if you
but there's nobody to go down to. You can't go a Pakes, you can't go a Mamalozu. So who are you thinking there?
Yeah, who is it?
Please tell me, there's no one. There's no one.
So,
come on, Cam. We're all
Billy Walters, 300K.
No. No, you got 3 hookers in that team.
Just Tavanga with 300K.
No, stop it.
What about a Havili? Havili at 300K. These are some really good options.
Stop it.
Riley Smith has the goal kicking now. You've got it, guys.
You're killing us, Cam.
Seriously, you're killing me.
No, just nuff it out, honestly. Nuff out.
Oh, no, I'm not nuffing it out because Mother Hooker's in and Smith, I'm not doing that.
Nuff it, and then front load all your cash into other positions.
No,
honestly,
God.
As a person in the top 10K, this is my advice that I would give you.
Well, I'm in the top 10K too, so you can't give me that advice, okay?
Well,
who's your other hooker? Senden Smith and who? Senden Smith and who?
Senden Smith and
Harry
maybe go Braylon.
Harry Grant? Oh, yeah.
I'll go Harry Grant. Oh, God, stop it. Come on. He's had one good game for me, okay? Thank you. All right?
Yeah. That's good. It's good. That's what you want out of your 600,000-700,000.
100%. 100%.
I think there's that what you just spoke about there, Cam, is something that our old mate there over in New Zealand spoke about a couple of weeks ago. Big Ted has been a big one on doing enough and top loading other positions. So Ted will probably say something about that in a minute, but he has he's put on this suggestion a few times that, you know, nothing out of position almost completely, actually. He said, look.
Yeah, he was talking about double nothing it though, Cam.
Don't double nuff. Don't double nuff.
Yeah.
But then you just always stuck with an auto emergency. But like Sanden Smith hasn't been bad. He's been scoring like 50s at points.
Yeah.
Like that's not a bad, like when you look at what the average is for hookers over the course of this season, the average is Connor Watson with 67, Wade Egan with 65, Tommy Starling with 59, McInnes 58. They're around that 50 point. Sanden Smith is the 12th highest averaging with an average of 50 points in that hooker position. 50 to 60 points is your ceiling of the average of what you're getting out of this position. It's not a high scoring position. And if you brought Sanden Smith in for that 240K, he's just doing what you need him to do while you can spend that money somewhere else. The money that you're spending to go up to a bigger player, you could spend that 400K and put it into someone like a Hudson Young who's going to be scoring you hundreds off the back of it. It just, that to me now makes more sense and what I would rather do than to try. There's no point making a position solid by weakening another position. That's my perspective. I'm only going to spend the cash on hooker when I have enough cash in the bank and everything else is set up. That's what I'm doing anyway.
You know what? Actually, you're making sense now because Sanden Smith plays the. No, listen, I'll tell you why. Okay, don't get carried away. All right. Sanden Smith plays the 3 major buys with the flex position in play. I now think that it's actually not a bad idea of actually just nuffing him out to maybe a duel of some description, hooker something.
Yeah.
So now that you say that, it might actually save me a boost this week as well if I
Save
do
it.
that.
Save it.
Yeah.
We have to start
Kalani,
saving.
Kalani going.
Hey, I've
from
still
the
got
Warriors.
3. I've still got 3 boosts left. Okay. I know some people like the biggest dickers who's used all of them within the first 5 rounds. Okay.
Yeah, I've used my third one this week.
Yeah.
So I'm down to 2.
Yeah.
Look, the hooker position it is. I'm running Mamazulis, and I could just trade him straight to Blake Brayley, but that's just completely sideways. There's no
Yeah.
real point. I might as well just stick with Mamazulis, get me 50 points every single week, and move along. There's no really.
Yeah.
Cam's 100% right. Mr. Charity's right. He's
not always right, but he is sometimes. Okay.
Well, it's just a valueless position at the moment. 50 to 60 points is about its range. And if you're going to need an extra 8 points to win your head-to-heads, then you might have to look elsewhere in your team, I think, to find those points. I don't think it's necessarily at hooker that you're going to find them.
I don't know what we're doing after this, if we're wrapping up or not, but I did have a question that I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
For a little bit of advice. You want me to throw it in here now?
Yeah, go for it.
Is Metcalf a trade? It's such a tough, because I've been wanting to trade him since I saw his opening performance against the Raiders. I just was like, nah, he's not doing what I need him to do. And every week he's managed to score a try and just get enough points. I'm still not happy with what I see, but I'm like, I'm trading him out and moving Brimson up into that 5'8" position I've got Dylan Brown. I'm like, I don't know if that weakens my team, bringing AJ up there. Because granted, I'm going to move AJ back down to center and leave him once I get a better replacement for that. But I've been wanting to trade him, found the opportunity to trade him, and now I'm like, I don't even know if it's worth it.
But who is the best? Like, let's look at the big picture. We've already said 5'8" is a basket case position. Who is your future thinking of for 5'8"? Because to me, it's shit. It does not look like it's going to get any better. Let's be honest.
It's a similar argument to the position. Yeah.
You've got one, Brad? Yeah, who is it?
Birdo.
Burton. Ooh.
Oh, God.
621.
Yeah.
Almost bottoming out. He doesn't have too much further to go. He does have a break even of 80, but that's quite achievable. But so he's nearly bottomed out. At 600K, he will bottom out. So next week, maybe, but, for 20 grand. Yeah, Burton, why not? Why not? It's 600 odd K. 600, far out. It's about 120K difference between him and Metcalf.
Yeah.
I would prefer to be on the team that's coming first in the competition, having their 5'8". Let me put it that way.
But don't forget that he didn't kick goals on the weekend either. Is he going to kick goals this weekend? Because even if they put on 50, if he's not kicking, that's at least 20 to 30 points missed. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But on yours, Mr. Charity, if you're selling Metcalf and you're moving Brimson up to your 5'8", if you're trading him into a Carraz or to a Herbie, I absolutely be all on board that, 100%. Or even Dylan Lucas. Absolutely. I just don't think Metcalf's got that ceiling to go what those players can do.
But does anyone this year, even Munster, struggle to get the ceiling happening?
Well, I'm just talking about if you bring in like a Herbie or someone else instead, Brad, you're selling Metcalf and moving up Brimson into 5'8", go to Herbie, go to a Carraz, go to a Lucas.
Well, I'm in the same. G'day, Kyle, by the way, mate. How you going there, Noodle? He agrees. He said 5'8's a wasteland. He's even holding Jaden Campbell. I'm a Jaden Campbell owner. I will be selling this week. Bugger it. But I do have a Dewey who's just doing what Dewey does. Sweet F all. But he's not losing money. He's not gaining money. So I'll move Dewey from my centres up into 5'8", and say bring Herbie in. It's an easy.
Yeah.
That's an
Oh,
easy.
look,
Play.
we saw on the weekend at the game that that just showed the Dewey's not a half, and he'll score better. He will score better in the centres. But yeah,
No, 100%.
yeah.
But no, I'll just put Dewey up into my 5'8" and just let him rest there, and he can be an emergency if ever I need it. I won't play him.
Yeah.
And I'll bring the old Herbie in. Thank you very much. Come on, Herbie. Come join my team.
Right, quickly before we go on, boys, I just want to touch on your thoughts on some of these trade in and trade outs for this week.
Right.
There's a couple that I wanted to quickly discuss. Number 9 trade out is Kalen Ponga, and number 10 is Isaiah Iongi. I understand that the Eels are on the bye, but would you be selling Iongi and would you be selling Ponga? To me, it's no to either.
No to either for me. Yeah, we've all spoken about bringing Ponga in, so why would you?
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's a crazy trade out. And if you've held him from the beginning like I have, why would you? We've lost nearly 300k. Why would we jump off now?
Yeah.
It's almost like you need to just call on your sword. Iongi, I can see the reason for selling him, but I don't know if that's just as a frustrated Eels supporter watching. There was a try that was let in where he just jogged across the field when they spread it. We were short on defense there. Just seeing that as an Eels fan, I was like, this is very frustrating to watch. There are moments as well where he's a little bit more. I don't know. He's got a 53 break even. He's at that sort of like 500. He's made the money that you were hoping he was going to make. I don't really know. Look, I think that as Big Ted said, Gutho to Ponga is a very juicy trade to free up some cash. The only concern I have with bringing in Ponga, and we spoke about this a little bit, was with Origin looming. Do you want to potentially risk having Ponga in? We haven't really seen anything out of the Knights that suggests that Ponga is going to pick up. We're kind of just saying he's a gun, he's going to get better, and the big score has to come. But we haven't seen it week on week, so I can see why some people would be wanting to trade him out, but I think it's a foolish decision to trade him out, especially if you started with him. So the trade in I can't be mad at. The trade out I can kind of be mad at. So yeah,
I think Gutho's got a break even of about 130. Ponga's got a break even of 100. Teddy, I think you can wait a week. Honestly, I just think the Dragons up against the Roosters who aren't playing that well. I think Gutho if Gutho can plug a 70 or an 80, and then Ponga only puts you out a 50 or a 60, you're going to end up about square anyway.
All right, here's another question coming in from Kyle. He says, rank Drinkwater, Herbie, or Lucas, lads? Well, for me, mine's Herbie. Go. But, yeah, what do you guys reckon?
Is it for this week or, like, for long term?
I'd say it's for this week to trade in.
Yeah, I'd say that'd be this week's trade. Yeah.
Lucas probably, even though I'm trading in Lucas at the bottom just because you don't know what the minutes will be like with Kant on the bench and whether he's going to give him a spell because he's coming back from injury. If it's long-term, Lucas is a great play. Herbie's decent. And Drinkwater, I've always had a soft spot for Drinkwater. I think he's a great player. But yeah, I can see Herbie, Drinky, Lucas for me for next week at least.
I'll go Herbie, Drinky, Lucas.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah.
I can't choose between Drinky and Lucas really, but Herbie to me is he's priced right now and he's right. Not going to get him any better value. So for value and points and just sheer base, he's just gotta love him. All right.
Just last one, Brad.
Yep.
Last one. Number 6 traded in this week, boys. Greg Marzu, 578k break even at -13. Do we think he's a trade in this week?
Yeah,
don't forget he's only had one good game. He's had one good game all season.
I've suffered through his 40-point games week on week to get this.
And you didn't play him this week, did you?
No, I played him. I played him every week. I haven't not played him because I'm like, I can't risk. If I see that leg working in overdrive one week and he's sitting on my bench, I will delete the app. So I'm lucky enough that I have just played him every week, and he finally returns the favor. I looked at him and I was like, imagine if I captained him. That would have been great. Yeah, no, can't be thinking like that. Can't be thinking like that. Yeah, great. I don't know if trading him in is the right play because I'm always skeptical of chasing points because anytime someone who's been performing really badly then scores a big score, everyone trades him in the next week and he doesn't perform. But we do know that Greg Marju is someone that can perform. He is starting to work back into the season, and with Dylan Lucas coming back, Ponga due for a good game, you never know. But yeah, I don't know if he's a trade-in yet.
And you got glue hands inside him too that doesn't pass as well.
Yeah.
For me, I'll just have one more say on this, see if you guys agree. For me, I'm finding the 30K to get Dylan Lucas, or I'm finding the 110K to get Herbie.
Yeah. But if it's money, I think a week for Lucas just to have a good look at him would be, For people that are the Marzu one, going back on the Marzu, I just suddenly thought, upon which world do people have? Like, how many trades? Do some people have 4 or 5 trades or something? Like, if you're getting Marzu, that means you're ignoring Carraz, Herbie.
Yeah.
Young. It's so meant in a world where Marzu is high. I don't know. That seems a bit funny to me. And this is a bloke 2 weeks ago was just about to get dropped. So, I'd be very careful with one. But, yeah, people must have more trades than me. That's all I know. All right. So, before we do, we're going to sign off in a minute. But a big shout-out to Wedgetail Golf. I've really got to give them Dan and Wedgetail a big shout-out. Got some great apparel over there. Go check out wedgetailgolf.com.au. He's got a new range of shirts coming out, golf shirts coming out. Got some great hats there as well. Dan, you just need hats that are a little bit bigger, mate. They only just fit my head, but I have a very large melon. That's why I'm the beast. But, no, he has some great apparel over there, wedgetailgolf.com.au. As well, everybody, we will be at Magic Round. Are you going to be at Magic Round this year, Cam?
Mate, I'm technically homeless right now. I'm staying at my friend's apartment who is about to move out in a couple of weeks. So, pray for me. But, yeah, no, it's I've got to lock down a place. I've been doing a little bit of traveling recently and all over the place, so need to sit still. But next year, I almost definitely want to lock it in.
We did run into you last year at Magic Round, and I know that you had an absolutely wild 4 days or something up there. I think there was a vision of you doing a shoey somewhere, wasn't there?
I was dressed as Woody, and I was walking up and down the aisles, and I was waiting too long to get a drink. So I was like, I'm just going to get 2 drinks. And then I walk back, and then someone was like, do a shoey, Woody. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I did a shoey, and then I drunk it, and everyone was like, do another one. And I went, oh, why not? And then I was like, one more. And the crowd starts cheering, and then I did it. It spilt everywhere. Then I came back and sat down with my friends, and like, where's your drinks? And I went, I'm sorry.
The stories of Magic Round. Well, do tune in on Sunday night. We will let you know. We're going to be doing a meet and greet probably at around about Caxton Street on the Friday afternoon, as we always do.
Yeah.
We'll have a little spot there. It'd be great to catch up with all those that are there. I'm sure you'll see us all over Magic Round, though. We'll be doing a few live broadcasts. We've got a little bit of equipment which we'll be taking with us to do a few live broadcasts. So should be a lot of fun there, Ross.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. As Brad said, if you're around, let us know, catch up with us, come for a beer or 2. Also, our competition that we had running for the 2 women's origin tickets for Magic Round in Queensland, the winners will be announced today. We're just waiting on a couple more teams to get to post out their scores. So thanks again, Damo, for that. We may have a 3rd one yet, possibly as well. So if you didn't get the top 2 and you got 3rd, just keep your fingers crossed because you also might be in 2. Also, next week we won't be live because Brad is away on his little camping trip. So it'll be myself with Timmy O, and we've got special guest Desi Creek coming on from the Supercoach Playbook podcast. Des is great value, really nice guy. So looking forward to having him on. And obviously, as Brad said, then we'll do a few little bits and pieces at Magic Round. We might even do a little podcast from our hotel room or something, maybe even. So we'll see how we go.
Do it in your pajamas.
Well, I was thinking budgie smugglers, but anyway.
Either one, yeah. Budgie smugglers by the pool. Budgie smugglers in the shower together. I think that would be a really good podcast.
I've had to share Oscar a few times that budgie smugglers are not part of the
No.
Yeah, either of us, not part of it.
No, me neither. Definitely not. No.
Right. And the bloke filming as well, our third person in tow, our producer, he's not. I think he'd walk out of the room, wouldn't he?
No, we'll just get the other Tim to do that.
All right, folks. Thank you very much, Cam, Miss Charity. As we said, check them out over on SC Hub. On Discord. If you haven't checked it out, I'm a member there. I don't comment as much as I should, but I get very limited with social media.
Completely fine.
But yeah,
if anyone wants a link to the server, just comment below, and we'll get something out to you. We'll send something to your thing so that you can join the hub. Otherwise, just the Supercoach Hub, you'll be able to find it. Great community, great people. Just keen to expand it and see how we go. It's a really great live community that you can just chat with.
And when do you do your podcast too, Cam, for the hub? What nights do you normally do your pods?
That's typically been Wednesday nights, to my memory. I was on it, I think, a couple of weeks ago, and it was a wild experience for me because I'm lactose intolerant and accidentally had dairy before the potty. So that was a great viewing experience for everyone that experienced that. But yeah, it's called The Breakdown, and we essentially look at like play-by-plays as well of why a player is scoring points and what we're seeing for their try contributions, what shapes the teams are running. It's a very, very interesting podcast, very, very different to what we typically see in the Supercoach space. So yeah, I've been loving it. And a couple of bits of short form content like Captain Hindsight, where we look at who to captain, who to VC, and a few other little mini shows that we run. So yeah, some exciting stuff that's been pumping out of the Supercoach Hub. I'm really happy with the team and what they've all been putting together. It really makes it a great space and great content space to be a part of.
One thing I don't mind about the Hub, that's a lot different to a lot of other platforms, is that there are so many different little rooms and channels. Mm-hmm. So if you're not really interested, and I, say if you're part of some of the group communities that have chat rooms and that, you can just get overwhelmed with absolute bullshit. It just the essays some people write and stuff, whereas the rooms in the Hub are very specific. So if you're just looking at captains or something like that, there's just a thread in the room just to talk about captains or particularly during cricket. I did go in there a fair bit in cricket, and because there's some people I knew there very well, and you say there were specific topics and different things that we could narrow down your talking rather than wading through the vastness of rubbish. So I do like that. So I hope that made sense.
Even just things like a draft specific channel, so you can talk about draft or like trade and team advice for what to do, and then just general like shit talking in just the season talk. It's a great way. But then there's also like automated channels where it says if there's any changes to team lists and stuff. Just to be updated like that is just super useful. So yeah, I love it.
All right, anything else there, Roscoe, before we sign off?
That's it for me. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ted. Thank you, Biggest Jiggers. Thank you, Kyle London. Thank you for coming in, mate. There's a few other ones. Hayden Boxall. Thank you very much, Hayden. Always love it. As we said, thank you to Tim O'Connor. I don't know where he is. He must be still having sausages. It must be tea time, mate. Don't knock off them sausages. Josiah, thank you very much from the Ruck Infringement, mate, for a big shout out. And to all, I can see there's quite a few others there watching, so thank you guys. Till next week, Sunday night, Ross will drop that one with Desi Creek. Can't wait for that. Desi's always really great value. I love talking with Desi, so that should be a good show on Sunday. Till then, stay safe, raid straight your ass off.
Yeah. Love you.